Hey, good evening, everybody. How are you? This is Freddie Ewan, two-time GM of the Year, current Pantheon Cup champion, 2023 regular season champion, host of the TPFFKAL show. You only have to listen to me one more week saying reigning Pantheon Cup champion, because we got a big show coming. It is Media Day, 1 week away. Actually, this is the week. The championship game, the Pantheon Cup, is here. We got both of the GMs coming on this evening. We're going to talk to both of the GMs who are in the third Pantheon Cup of the TPFFKAL. Going to be super exciting. We're going to get James, and I think actually James's son, on. And we're also going to get the guy from the Sea Dogs on too, the GM on the Sea Dogs. The two championship GMs are going to come. We're going to talk strategy. We're going to talk a little bit about the Pantheon Cup. We're going to talk about next year. It's going to be way exciting. I'm way excited for this weekend. Even though I was a loser this week, I'm still way excited about the TPFFKAL show. Jimmy, I'm coming after you. I still want that third place spot, though, baby. Fourth place is not an option for the Team of Destiny. I am going to send this out right now, get these boys on, and we're going to go to work. This is going to be a fun show. So the one thing that I was reading today is pretty crazy. ESPN reported that more than half of the fantasy football teams that are in the finals have CMC on their roster, which I don't know. That's a pretty crazy number. 50% of all teams to have CMC on their roster. We have our first guy. Hey, what's going on, James?
How's it going?
Good. Hey, Michael, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, not bad. So things are going well for you, man. You're a Michigan fan. Your fantasy football team is in the Pantheon Cup. Life is good, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You're not a Giants fan like your father, are you?
Oh no.
Oh, you're a smart kid. Real smart kid. Who's your football team?
I support my mom's team, the Packers.
Oh, you're a real smart kid. That's good. That's good. That's good. I'm a Green fan, as you can see. How about those Eagles, huh? So we're waiting.
You go to that game last year?
I did.
What's that?
Yeah.
What's that?
So he went to the Eagles-Packers game last year.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I was in Philadelphia.
That was in Philly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that turned out to be that was the game where did Rodgers got hurt in that game, I think? Did he
At
get
the end
hurt?
of it, yeah.
Yeah. And they put Jordan Love in, and I think Love threw a touchdown pass at the end of that game.
He did.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Eagles won, but I know it wasn't by much, and Love looked good. What do you think of Jordan Love?
He's been better this season than I thought he would be.
He's got, you look at the way Green Bay has done things, and it's, they had Brett Favre forever.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy won the Super Bowl, and they really kind of tutored Rodgers under him, and then Rodgers came out. Rodgers had a great career. I thought he should have had more Super Bowls than just one. He had a tough time in a lot of playoffs, but they're hoping for Love to be the next Rodgers / Favre, and
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be an uphill battle. That's going to be an uphill battle
For sure.
So we're waiting for Brian to get on. I don't know if Brian. I was talking to Brian all day. He's all excited, and then he.
I'm here. I've been here.
I didn't know. I just heard I was talking to you all day long, and I just heard now.
I've been hearing all the Giants and Green Bay Packer talk, so I didn't want to talk during that.
Well, now we can get the show going, baby. Welcome to the show, Brian. You're going up against a GM and a co-GM. I totally forgot that Michael is the co-GM of James's team. Michael, how much of a role did you play in getting this team to the Pantheon Cup?
We played about equal in the draft, but he's done the team lineup so far. He's been the mastermind behind all of it.
He made a couple good decisions in the first couple of weeks that really got us through some games. So yeah.
So James went 5-0 to start the season off. Brian, I think you start. Brian, what did you start out as? You started out as 2-1, I think.
Something like that.
won your next 4 games, and then I think you lost 3 in a row, and then you guys both kind of got had some injuries. Both of you guys have had some injuries. I want to ask you, the first question that I want to ask both of you guys is, you kind of got the same path to getting here. Tanked last season, and I guess the goal was obviously to tank last season to get here today. So how does that feel? This is like 2 years in the making. Go ahead, Brian.
Go for it.
First.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. The first season I was able to crack into the playoffs, and of course I was one and done. But I really had some high hopes for year 2. We were planning on rolling with Brady, and as you guys recall, the Buccaneers were just seriously struggling with putting anything together, and I was trying to pretty much continue and try to do the best we could, but I think I saw maybe Zach start selling a few players early, and then maybe James, and I thought, you know what, that might be the way to go. I think if anything, I'm going to be middle of the pack this year. I see what they're doing; it makes sense. Because if you think about it, you see that Doug sold off the first year and went all the way to the championship game in year 2. So I thought, maybe that's the way to go. I decided to roll that way, and so far it's so good. We'll see what happens. We're very fortunate to be playing in week 17. I am a little nervous now getting to meet James's secret weapon, Michael, there, who has and hearing him talk about football as I was coming on, he definitely knows what he's doing. So I feel like I might be in trouble this weekend.
James, what about you? 2 years. It took a while to get to this point.
Yeah, like I told you before the season, I felt like in year 1, Rich really understood the salary cap trading piece better than most folks, and I think I got caught a little bit flat-footed. And then last year I made the devastating decision to go in on Russell Wilson as the quarterback solution. And when you have a QB1 putting up 3 points a game, you find yourself in trouble pretty quickly. So really decided to lean into building for this year. Was fortunate enough to avoid the waffle punishment that Brian went through. But then, last week we had to survive 5 nights at Freddy's, and so maybe that was our punishment, having to listen to you talk smack for all that time.
So, getting to bringing up Russell Wilson, the news came out today that Russell Wilson got benched for the Denver Broncos. And, talking to Brian with this, being a Seahawks fan, it's, they traded a king's ransom for Russell Wilson. They owe him a lot of money. It does not look like he's going to be a Denver Bronco next year, and I was trying to think back of, where a team has really succeeded from making a trade for a veteran quarterback like that. And the only one I could really think of is Stafford almost. Really haven't seen it anywhere else. Like, I know that's kind of recent, but you look at these old trades too. It's like, I'm trying to think of a couple in particular,
Hey, Freddie, was Drew Brees a trade from San Diego?
No, Brees was a free agent.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because that would have been huge.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And Brady was a free agent. We'll see what happens with Rodgers. But, you already saw it happen with Rodgers. He, played 3 plays. So it's really like, I don't know if that's always the route for, teams to take. It certainly worked with the Rams. But, the Rams, I guess, basically went all in. They got that 1 title. And, the Rams aren't going to be a Super Bowl contender anymore. But, I guess they got the job done. But, in the NFL, it's like you either need a dominant defense or a great quarterback to win a Super Bowl. And, it's like everyone's streaming to find that, quarterback. And, it just seems like training for a veteran, it just always goes the wrong way almost.
Yeah, I
Interesting.
mean, I don't think that there's a lot of head coaches who've won, Super Bowls with more than one team. I think it's the same with QBs. No one's going to let that guy go until they know he's washed, and that's kind of where they're at right now.
Absolutely. Yep. Getting back to the TPFFKAL, this is actually the second year in a row that a 4 versus 2 seed is playing. James, you took it. We were talking 2 weeks ago, chatting back and forth, and you were basically on tilt. Didn't have a great game in the wild card, and ended up pulling it out. You won by 11 points. You only scored 100 points. You played the 2 other teams. You would have lost that day, but you won the game. And sometimes, that's all that matters. It's a head-to-head thing. Both of you guys, we thought these were going to be decent games this week. And both of you guys, I mean, it was over from the start pretty much. I mean, Brian, you had, Puka and Kyron Williams on Thursday night. They just, kicked the crap out of it. James, you had Breece Hall go at 1 o'clock. He scored 31 points. And, I mean, my team put up 78 points. Jimmy's team put up 90 points. Those are some of our 2 worst jobs of the year. And for you two, it's 2 of your best points. So it's really like, I mean, you guys were, I don't know, you guys were primed to win these semifinal games, obviously. Talk a little bit about how that felt. It was over early, no sweat.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I was definitely nervous going into it. Clearly, Jimmy is always got a great team. He looked like he had some really good matchups. I was really surprised to get that Thursday night performance out of my 2 Rams. I think we ended up putting up 50 points, and then we just started rolling. It was definitely a good feeling getting all those points up, because I really didn't expect us to put those kind of numbers on the board. And the only thing that's been a little frustrating has been injuries. I thought maybe I'd end up trying to have some kind of a controversy between Lamar Jackson and Trevor Lawrence, but it seems like Trevor Lawrence is getting banged around every week. So the good news is that I don't have to think about it. I'm just plugging in Jackson, and he's continuing to put up some decent points. So I'm very fortunate for that.
Absolutely. And James, on your side of the thing, I don't know exactly how many points Purdy put up, but he didn't do much. And to put up 155 points with your quarterback throwing 4 interceptions, how does that feel?
Yeah, well, I mean, going back to the quarterfinal week, it was really frustrating both in this league and the other league that we share, Fred, where I had 2 self-inflicted wounds, one in each league, that cost me the bye. And there was the very real worry that all of a sudden costing myself the bye knocked myself out entirely. Week 14, I had 2 50-50 choices, one between Purdy and Herbert, and one between Breece Hall and Najee. We went wrong on both of those. And landed ourselves in a situation of having to win just to get to you. And then not gonna lie, with the volume of smack that you talk, the notion of having to potentially go through the next 9 months listening to it nonstop is not particularly appealing for me. So it was a little more relief than celebration at that stage, I'd say. Brian knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
You did the entire league a big favor. Trust me, you did the entire league a big favor. The whole league had if that was a Christmas present to give out to the whole league was in joy. Trust me. Trust me. That's, and while you were saying that, the one thing that, I was thinking about, it's like you always kick yourself in the butt when you make the bad move, and we've all done it, we've all done it during a, big game in a playoffs and fantasy football where, it's like I did it last week and should have put this guy, I should have put Spears in and started London instead. And it was, but it, you always think, it's like you always kick yourself in the butt when you make one of those bad moves. But when you make one of those good moves, you don't really think about it too much. You know what I mean? It's always
never remember it. Yeah.
You never remember it. Yeah. You'll remember the time you put in the bad. It's just like, bad beats in poker. You can remember every bad beat you took, but you never remember the good beats you dished out almost.
No, every hand I've won was because I was smart.
Right. Right. So going into this game, you guys are pretty even here. It's James right now on the board is 55% favorite over Brian, 45%. These numbers are, Yahoo numbers are, whatever they are. They have you as a 6-point favorite. Looking at this is you guys do not have a whole lot of correlation with each other's teams. You're going to pretty much see a player in almost every game, it looks like, this week. Every game you guys are going to have a player almost. I mean, you got Ridley and Ingram together. The only correlation I really saw was, Brock Purdy on your side, James, and CMC on your side, Brian. CMC, believe it or not, I was just reading, I said this before, is in more than half of the fantasy football finals on ESPN and Yahoo.
Wow.
Really quick, tell me about McCaffrey, Brian, and how important it was to have him on your team.
I tell you what, he's basically he's a kingmaker, right? I mean, that's kind of what it sounds like. 53% of the leagues, he's going to the championship game. I knew when I ended up with the salary cap that I had, I did not do a good job of protecting players that I could use. So I had to go out and do some shopping around and buy some. But I knew that where I was definitely weak was going to be in running back. And I made the decision that I was going to get McCaffrey and I was going to get Eckler, whatever the cost was going to be. That's what I was going to do because I knew that I needed him. Eckler has been obviously a disappointment, but McCaffrey has been incredible. And as I'm sitting here and I'm looking at our matchups, side by side, and like you just said, that James and Michael, they've definitely got the slight advantage. I think I'm down. You said what, 6 or 7 points. But I'll tell you what I'm hoping for. There's been a lot of discussion about league MVP, and I think what we heard, last week was that they were talking about, Purdy and McCaffrey should be, the MVP. And then you hear Purdy say, no, it should be McCaffrey because, he does it all. But then after the Monday game and what Lamar Jackson was able to do, you heard people talking about how Jackson should be the MVP. So as I'm looking at these matchups, I'm kind of hoping because, clearly, my opponent has got Purdy and Deebo Samuel, and they can be lights out. I'm hoping that the San Francisco game plan is McCaffrey all day long, hoping to get him back in the MVP discussion. And on the other hand, I'm hoping that Baltimore, who's at home against a tough Miami, I'm hoping that they're going to just go ahead and let him, run wild. That is what I need if I'm hoping to have any kind of real luck going up against, this from Justin to Kelsey team, who's incredible. But we're basically, banking everything on McCaffrey and hoping for the best because we think that he could definitely put up some points if given the opportunity.
The one thing about the Niners too is, take away from last game is, they can, every one of those players can score points, whether it's run or pass too, and, getting over to you, James, I'm looking at your team and really the two guys that really carried you all year, both of you guys have had some some injuries. Jefferson obviously was down for a long time. He got him back, but really, and these two guys are both on the injured reserve right now. But really, Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen carried your team for most of the year. And it says a lot that it's that they're both injured. You're in the championship now. Take away from Brock Purdy last week. What's Brock Purdy been like to you since you saw Herbert went down?
Yeah, well, so I mean, before I go to that, Mike, do you remember why we wanted to draft Bijan instead of CMC? Do you remember what I said?
I don't remember what you
No,
said.
so it was because CMC gets hurt all the time.
Right,
But the reality has been that playing for the Niners instead of the Panthers seems to cure a lot of can I or can I not ailments. Miss for us there, and I very much would like Arthur Smith to go work for Dad at FedEx or whatever needs to happen, because he's a nightmare. But look, Herbert to Keenan Allen has been a really huge battery for us all year. We've had games where it's looked like we were out of it, and next thing I know, Mike's sending me text saying, Herbert to Allen, and off they go again, and it just completely swings the projection of the game that we're in. Having Purdy to go to, even though he didn't really show up last week, he was him to Debo was a big part of getting us through that tail end of the season. And the reality is, San Francisco's not playing Baltimore again this week. And so that, that changes everything on that. And, hopefully it's not swinging back to 2 weeks ago where CMC can fall down, get up, and still have time to get into the end zone before any defender gets within 5 yards of him.
Right.
But, I think game script's going to be just a huge part of it for both of us. If that Baltimore-Miami game is anything like the, 10, 11 touchdown affair that they had last year, that's going to work out really well for Brian. If the Niners are passing a lot, that helps me. The reality is we both have a lot of players who have that high floor, insane ceiling sort of situation. And it's just a matter of whether or not the game script falls right for either of us. But, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't, a little concerned about playing somebody who actually put up 216, because I've never seen that in, 20 years of playing fantasy football.
Absolutely. I'm looking at, and I'm looking at this matchup, and it looked almost every player is in some smash starts. I mean, San Francisco is, playing the Commanders. That Detroit and Dallas are going to put up some points. The Rams are playing the Giants. I can see Baltimore and Miami putting up some big points. I mean, there's a lot of, smash, even Cincinnati and Kansas City, I can see, that's a, repeat of the AFC Championship. So I can see,
Right.
I can see all that, it's, there's a lot of smash. I mean, I could see you guys both putting up a lot of points this week. And I think it's going to be a close game. I mean, if I was going to pick, I can't really pick a winner. There's really no clear winner. You guys, and I'll start with you, James. You think you're going to make any last minute changes, or going to go with the guys who you're going to go with the guys who brought you here, and let it ride, or you think maybe that you might come off the bench and make a change, or something along those lines? Keenan Allen, I don't think he's going to play this week, but what are your thoughts?
Well, just like I say after every time I make a bluff, I can't remember. Certainly it's a little easier if Keenan's on the bench. We've really got 5 top 24 wide receivers on our squad. So, if Keenan's back, then we've got a decision to make, probably between, do we want him on the receiving end of Easton Stick or Ridley on the receiving end of Trevor Lawrence? And,
Absolutely.
hopefully pick right.
Absolutely. And what do you think, Brian? Eckler, I mean, we talked last week about Eckler, but Eckler had he didn't do anything great, but he put up enough points. He pretty much hit his floor last week. And Higgins had a big game for you. I see you got him sitting out right now. Are you gonna make any last minute changes as far as what you got right now?
Yeah, I'm definitely not opposed to tweaking our starting lineup. You can, like you just said, there's a couple of players that I've already moved around. Eckler, gosh, I was so close to sitting him down. I think we had talked about the new coach being named and trying to get back to the basics out there. So he definitely got a few more looks than what he's got over the last several weeks, and I believe he got me like 10 or 11 points or something, which is it's okay. It's not the kind of numbers I expected from him, but this season. But yeah, we're going to continue to really review the game plan. We're going to look and see who's out there, and we're not opposed to making a few more moves. I mean, this is the final game, and James and Michael have been great GMs all season, doing what they need to do to win. And I just gotta continue this last chess match and see if I can keep it close.
Well, Brian, if you're making some last minute decisions, Mike, what do you think about maybe like Aiden O'Connell? Should he start him at QB?
Go for it.
Yeah. We think you should go with Aiden O'Connell. Definitely.
Right on.
That's a keeper. So, and I got two more shots for you guys. I wanted to ask you guys both a question about the league and the salary cap system that we have right now and how it's set up. It's like I said, that you guys had some of the higher salaries starting the year out. Do you think that needs to be changed in this league at all, or do you think the way the system works? I personally, I think that the league works great where it's there's a lot of action in the off season. There's a lot more strategy when it comes to cap room and stuff like that. I've heard some grumblings here and there that some things need to be changed as far as cap room is concerned. I don't think there needs to be a lot of changes, or if any, but just wanted to get your guys' opinion on it too.
Yeah, this was something that I really struggled with last year when when we were making the decision about do we try to fight for sixth place, or do we just lay up and focus on next year? And I feel bad for players like Jimmy who are just consistently excellent, and who really do that job of setting their team up year to year to year and have that really strong consistency, because unless we do something, there's always going to be players like Brian and Zach and me this year, or Rich next year, who are really stacking their odds in favor for 1 year. But I try not to express too strong an opinion on this, because we've really benefited from the current system, at least as it pertains to this year. And I don't want to be that person who benefits from something and then, slams the door shut behind them.
That makes a lot of sense. How about you, Brian?
Yeah, I had never seen a league structure like this before. When Doug did it in our inaugural year, I just had a hard time wrapping my head around it, because he started selling early. Week two.
We've made rules since Doug's been gone for a year. We're still making rules around him.
Yeah, but I really struggled with that, and didn't quite understand what was going on until afterwards. Then of course I saw what kind of budget he had, but it was still not for me. But I tell you, that second season when a couple of teams started to do it, and I was looking at my team, which was definitely mediocre at best and probably on the lower scale, I just thought, my only chance to be competitive next year is to do it if I can. And I do have a few players that I can sell off, but that's what I decided to do. I don't necessarily like the system, but I wanted to use it to my advantage because if not, I knew that I would probably not be sitting in the position that I am today if I didn't. So it's kind of like, what James was just saying. It's just it is tough to say a lot about it because I benefited from it this year. If not, I definitely wouldn't be playing. That's for sure. There's a few rules that I struggle with. I don't know what's going on with the borrow buyback.
I have no idea what the hell that is either. That's another rule that Neil made up with his injured reserve trade deadlines, and it's like buyback, trade back. If that's not collusion, I don't know what is.
Yeah, that's a struggle that I'm just trying to wrap my head around, and
borrow this player and I'll sell him back to you later. It's like I don't know. It's like it's like I don't know. It's like betting the pass line and don't pass line at the craps table. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd like to see some of these rules get resolved and straightened out. But as for being able to sell off players and things like that, I think maybe a cap. I think because again, this is the first league I've been in where you've been able to mortgage the future, to make some moves now, and I get the appeal. And again, I'm benefiting from it right now, but maybe some kind of a cap. I don't know. I'd be curious to see what other suggestions or recommendations people would have.
Yeah. It's and I spent a lot of cap room that, it's like I'm going to go in with less cap room than anyone, but it's like, I didn't have a lot of cap room to begin with, I won a lot of close games and pulled off a lot of close matchups, but the same thing that I say is, when it, and it's nice to have cap room, you guys got some players and some good keepers on cap room, but at the same time, I mean, you're looking at, Brock Purdy was not drafted. Puka Nacua was not drafted. Kyron Williams was not drafted. They're all going to be a big part of this championship game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you don't have those two players right now. It's like, where do you end up? James stashed Purdy on the bench forever. And it's like, you look at the quarterback list, the free agent quarterback list that you have right now, and there's Gardner Minshew's your best guy. You know what I mean? So it's, yeah, it's good to have salary cap and it's good to get those studs in the draft, but you'll see, it's like what happened if you drafted Nick Chubb this year, you know what I mean? James kept, Justin Jefferson was out most of the year, he's back now, but it's, I always think that, hey, it's good to have a lot of cap room, but the draft is not, the draft is not where you decide the champion,
Right.
Agreed.
So before we get going, I just want to congratulate the two of you. I am talking to the third Pantheon Cup winner right now. It's super exciting. You guys have any parting shots for each other?
Winners.
Winners. Hey, you're a winner in my book, Mike. You don't root for the Giants. You like Michigan. You're already a winner in my book. So any parting shots for each other? Go right ahead, Brian.
I just want to congratulate both James and Michael on a fantastic season. They definitely faced a lot of adversity, a lot of injuries, but they found a way to make it all the way to week 17. I'm definitely wishing you good luck this week, but not that much luck. I'm looking for a Sea Dogs championship.
Yeah, well, you've obviously got the most explosive team in the league, and we both lost to each other during our longest winning streak. But, I took the kids for ice cream tonight, and I got sprinkles because sprinkles are for winners.
Fantastic.
Well, guys, good luck to you. Gonna be a great week. I know everyone's gonna be excited. I got a rooting interest in both you. It's like James is my boy. I picked James to go all the way, but if Brian wins, I get to say that I beat the champion 2 times in a row in 2 weeks. So it's like I got a rooting interest in both of you guys. So
yeah, but if I win, then you get to say you lost to the champion twice.
That's true. That ends the show, everybody. It was great having you guys.
Thanks for having us, Freddie.
Excellent. Great meeting you, Michael.
Yeah, nice meeting you too, man.
Take care.